You are now listening to WSN, Wolf Sports Network, live from the University of West Georgia in Carrollton, now an Odyssey station.
Live from Carrollton, Georgia, this is Sports Pack.
Home of the hottest takes and the best interviews in college radio.
Hold on, wait a minute. We need a little more energy. This is Sports Pack. Yeah, there we go.
Home of the hottest takes and debates.
There is no way I'm going to sit here and roll with Jared Stidham and Aiden O'Connell.
Richard.
There's just no way.
And the best interviews in college radio.
This is five-time Olympic medalist Alana Myers-Taylor.
This is Super Bowl champion quarterback Brad Johnson, and you're listening to Sports Pack on the Wolf Sports Network.
You know what time it is. Wolf's Country.
Let's ride.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sports Pack. As always, I'm your host, Richard Reed, joined by John Howley, Jackson Schrader, and today, filling in for Carly, we got my guy Aiden filling in. Look, guys, you know, Carly's been in and out a lot. She announced she was running for homecoming. A lot of people thought she was away in Italy with her ex-hidden Italian boyfriend, Giacomo, but this time, she is not on a trip to Italy. Carly's actually sick right now. Carly, we wish you the best. Get well soon. We know Ebola is no joke. We really hope you get over it very, very soon. But I know you're noticing an extra person here as well. We have got Phoenix out here shadowing the board. She is one of our wits here at Wolf Sports Network. Today, she's shadowing. Thursday, it's either going to be this Thursday or next Monday. And let's just call it Thursday. She'll be on for a segment, so stay tuned for that. Now, look, we have a monster show to get to. We had arguably the greatest college football weekend of all time this past weekend, a crazy, entertaining NFL weekend as well. But you know, we got to talk about these West Georgia Wolves first and foremost.
As Widener rolls to the right, he's got some time. Everybody's down at the end zone. He heaves it, and it is caught for a touchdown.
We are one. Go Wolves.
Now, look, I just mentioned this amazing college football weekend, but it started with a low for us here. It started off with a low here for us here at the University of West Georgia as our West Georgia Wolves fell to the Austin Peay Governors with a score of 20-16. This game was entertaining in stints. There was a lot of good mixed with a whole lot of bad. Ended up coming down with the loss today. It was rough. What is this, our fourth straight loss?
Yeah.
Had a lot of high hopes going into the season, especially after the big-time win against Sanford. But there's just been low after low after low. Aiden, I'm going to kick it to you first. You were sidelined for the game this past weekend. What was your biggest takeaway from this game?
My biggest takeaway from this game would have been the positives that we saw on offense. The offense looked better. Davin Widener threw for 388 yards.
Jeez.
But what I had pointed out on the tailgate show that I want to see from West Georgia in this game was running the ball. Austin Peay came in under 100th in the FCS in run defense. They were allowing over 200 rushing yards a game. West Georgia ran for 76 yards combined. So not a good performance running the ball. We were one-dimensional in this game, but it was more competitive than it had been in weeks prior.
Right.
Improvement was seen, and I took that away from this game.
Yeah, I mean, how many times are we going to say that we need to run the ball better? I feel like we've been saying this every single week.
Twice a week since week one.
Exactly, man. I mean, it's frustrating. Our leading rusher had 36 yards. Like, that, in my mind, is unacceptable. But the pass game did look crazy good. Now, the one thing that also – oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
You're putting me on
good?
Yeah, the one thing that just, like, almost bothers me a little more is the fact that we had 464 yards and 16 points to show for it. I mean, it's just brutal when you can pass the ball so well, get down the field, and then you just come to a halt at the red zone. However, I do like how the passing game played, so I guess that could be a bonus there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking here at the drive charts, lots of punts, and really that's not good for us. And I remember that's like one thing we talked about at the very beginning of the season. We're going to establish the run game. We have Rajez Mosley. But now we're just not doing that. And then you get the pass game open up, which is awesome. But we're just shooting ourselves in the foot not having the run game available. And if you can't run the ball, that's not good for your team.
Exactly. And this West Georgia team, this West Georgia team was not able to run the ball this past Saturday. But like you said, Aiden, like you said, Schrader, 388 passing yards from Davin Widener. So you would think this team would get away with more than 16 points. But no, drives were stalling out. They had insane amount of success in the passing game, but only had 16 points to show for it. If you would have told me that Davin threw for 388 yards, I'd say West Georgia probably put up 35, maybe even 40 points. Yeah. but they came away with 16 points. That's just unacceptable. 16 points for the second straight week in a row. This football team has got to get it figured out. I'm not sure what's going on. Obviously cannot convert in the red zone. The running game has been non-existent the entire season. When over the past few years, West Georgia, one thing about West Georgia, the defense has been solid, and we've had a running game over the past few years. Now it's just inconsistent. Never been able to run the ball, but the weeks we're able to throw, the passing game can't even open up the run game. I'm not really sure what to make of this West Georgia team right now. It was really high. It started off really high with that Samford win. But after that, it's just like...
What's happened?
Exactly. What is going on? What is happening to this football team? There's talent. We know there's talent.
100% there's talent.
It's just not translating. This team is not clicking. But you know what? Our volleyball team got our back. Because they went in on Sunday. They went in on Saturday, at 2 p.m. and beat the Austin Peay's volleyball team. A score of 3-2. Love to see that. We have a very up-and-down volleyball team, but this team is 2 games over 500 right now. They're really starting to get themselves figured out. It's like they have a perfect mix of good and bad. Because on Thursday, they lost to Queens University of Charlotte in our first ever ASUN matchup with a score of 3-1. Then Saturday, they come back and beat Austin Peay 3-2. John, you've done a lot of live coverage for this volleyball team. What do you really like about this team, and what do you expect going throughout the rest of conference play?
I really like that they stick together and they're very strong, and really it's just that we're keeping a positive win record. So really when it comes to the ASUN conference, that's about as far as we can play up to get a conference win. I think, or the conference champion, that's what I'm going to say. I think we can win the conference championship because it is a tough team, and they're going to be back here soon, so I think we'll get to see even more, see how much better they've gotten. So I think we definitely make a run for in the conference championship.
Yeah, and it's been a little while since I have seen them in person. It's actually been like over a month because they were on the road for a while. But the one thing that I saw with this team is they can rally like crazy.
Exactly.
I mean, if they get hot, they go nuts. And that's big, especially when you talk about conference championship aspirations, because that's one of those things. If you get hot at the right time, you can go nuts. And that's what I think this team is probably going to do when we get to that point in time.
It seems like every week that I'm on here, we're talking about them battling, stay over 500, and they've kept doing it. So this is a team that definitely needs to make that run, get hot, and they can contend in the ASUN.
Yeah, I'm with all three of y'all. Y'all all share the same sentiment, and I feel the exact same way. As long as this team gets hot and can stay hot at the right times, this is a team that can make a run and win the conference because they've been really spotty. They get hot and they beat a team, and then they'll drop a game to a team. If this team can get hot and stay hot for a long period of time, this can be a very dangerous team. Now, before we wrap up this segment, I do need to talk about our West Georgia Wolves women's soccer team. Currently sitting at 2-10 right now, had 2 tough losses this past week. On Thursday, dropping at Stetson with the loss of 1-0, and then going to Florida Gulf Coast and losing with the score of 5-0. This has been rough for our West Georgia Wolves soccer team this year. There were highs at some points. We thought they might have got it turned around, but they have not been able to figure it out. Have about 5 games left before the season's over. I just hope they can string along some games together, get some positive momentum going into next season. Because there hasn't been a lot of good in this season. I don't really have much to say about this team. They've really been struggling, but I really hope they can get this going before the season ends. Now look, dining dollars are available to use at the East Commons Pack Shack, TLC, Noonan Micro Mart, and in any Coca-Cola vending machine on campus. More information can be found at UWG Dine_West on Instagram. Now let's talk about some college football. Baby, it's college football time. Give me my theme music. Look. My voice isn't all the way here. Schrader sounds worse than me.
Dude, I'm cooked.
It's allergy season. It's that time of year. Temperatures change and things is going around. All our voices are a little raspy. So if you hear us clearing our throats, bear with us. But look, the show must go on. And you know why the show must go on? Because this past college football weekend was absolutely insane.
What a cinema.
Now, we already talked about absolute cinema, John. Absolute cinema. It's hard to decide where to start. There's so many other games we could kick it to. We could talk about that thriller in California when the Miami Hurricanes came back to beat the Cal Bears. We could talk about Tennessee and Arkansas. We could talk about Syracuse UNLV. But I think we have to start it off. Matter of fact, not I think. I know we have to start it off with Alabama traveling to Nashville to get taken down by the Vanderbilt Commodores. It was insane. I watched this entire game. I was on the edge of my seat. Did you know Alabama never had the lead in this game?
It's crazy.
Did y'all know
Wild.
that? The Vanderbilt Commodores, with their first ever home field storming, getting fined, $100,000 for taking down $150,000 for taking down the Alabama Crimson Tide with a final score of 40-35. Schrader, I'm going to kick it to you first. Just talk us through this game.
My brother in Christ, this game was purely cinematic. I mean, the whole time, like in the first quarter, I saw them jump out to that 13-0 lead. I saw that pick six, and I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. It's not going to last long. And Bama showed a little bit of fight, but every single time Bama hit Vanderbilt with something, Vanderbilt took it to the chin and hit him right back. I mean, that 4th and 3 on the 50-yard line where Pavia just unloads for a beautiful touchdown. That was when I was like, okay, I think Vanderbilt's going to win this game. Vanderbilt's defense came to play. That run game was brilliant. The play calling was amazing. I mean, my jaw was on the floor just like most people. It was awesome, and it's always a good day when you get to see the Crimson Tide fall. I'll end with that.
Amen.
Yeah, this didn't look like a traditional upset usually does to me when a team like Alabama loses. Like, it's more of Alabama struggling than it is than Vanderbilt or the lesser team playing up to their competition. This was a game where Vanderbilt looked like the better team for a long stretch, and that is not something that I expected to say ever about Vanderbilt versus Alabama. Vanderbilt outplayed Alabama. It was very impressive to watch Clark Lee up there. He's got the boys playing right. It's impressive. Vanderbilt could be building something here.
Do y'all know how many points Vandy scored when they played against Saban total throughout the whole time? 13 points.
Insane.
1-3 against Saban. Every time they played Saban, they only scored 13 points. And what did they do against Kalen DeBoer?
First game against DeBoer, 40-piece.
Yep.
Ain't that a good look?
Chicken McNuggets.
I just see a lot of heart in that team and the program they're building up there. I love it, especially with is it Pavia, or have you said
Pavia.
Pavia. I love what he's doing. He set out there, he didn't have the opportunity when he was coming out of high school, had no offers. He shouldn't be out there, and yet he's showing all these people wrong. So I see a lot of heart in this team, but I see a team that wants to win, and that's the SEC. We're going to show, no matter what, we're going to show you something, and heck, they showed us something.
They definitely showed us something. You want to talk about this, the SEC. How about this is college football?
Yes, sir.
This college football season has been amazing to watch the entire year. You have Colorado surging. You know how Vanderbilt, who's been up and down, they just lost a game to Georgia State, had a very close game against Missouri where they lost. Then they come then they host the Alabama Crimson Tide and win the game. This season has been insane. You have an Alabama team that came off a very impressive win against the Georgia Bulldogs, where everybody said without a doubt that is the best team in the country after how they beat Georgia. The very next week they travel to Nashville and get beat like this by Vanderbilt. It was insane to watch. Now, I'm not going to sit here and bash Alabama too much because Jalen Milroe had a great game. Threw for over 300 yards, accounted for over 4 touchdowns. I mean, he had a great game. It's this Alabama defense I'm concerned about because after the first half against Georgia, after the first quarter against the University of Georgia, holding them to a big donut on the scoreboard, that defense has been terrible, giving up an ungodly amount of points since then. If I'm an Alabama fan, that's what I'm worried about. Because this offense with Jalen Milroe can really stick with anybody. Milroe can do it with his arm, can get it done with his legs. They have a very talented receiving core led by their 17-year-old true freshman Ryan Williams. It's just that defense. Because even in this Vanderbilt game, they were starting to fall apart internally. Malachi Moore just straight out lost his mind. He was crashing out at the end of the game, waving off and yelling at his coaches. Dude got subbed into the game. He told him to go back out despite what the coach said. You have captains on that defense falling apart. This is an Alabama team that really needs to get their stuff together before they keep going throughout the rest of the season because they have a game against Tennessee coming up. They have a loaded schedule. I don't have their schedule pulled up, obviously, because I just would have read off the rest of the games. But they have a loaded rest of the schedule, and the rest of this SEC stretch is not going to get much easier. Because while Vanderbilt is still a very good team, there are better teams that they're going to have to face. One of those better teams being the Missouri Tigers, the 9th-ranked team in the country. Going into this week, they had to travel out to College Station to take on the Texas A&M Aggies, where they were splattered with a final score of 41-10. Texas A&M just made an example of Missouri. And this is a Missouri team that after last season, big-time year, were one drive away from beating the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens, beat the Ohio State Buckeyes in the New Year's Six bowl game. The expectations were sky high for this Missouri team. But they've obviously not been living up to the hype up to this point. A lot of their games before this game have been very close, but they just got victimized with a 31-point loss to the Texas A&M Aggies. Aiden, I'm going to throw it to you first. What is your biggest takeaway from this game? And is Missouri a fraud?
Missouri is a fraud. I was huge on them. I was probably the biggest Missouri supporter coming into this season. I was putting them in that upper echelon next to Texas, Georgia, Alabama, and I was wrong. I was dead wrong. Brady Cook can't play with the big dogs. He can't go into big environments like Kyle Field and win games. He about did against Georgia last year. That's probably the best we've seen him play in one of those big environments. But this year it's looked like he's regressed over the offseason.
Yep.
His weapons, he's got even more weapons. They're even older. Luther Bird and Theo Wees. You should be able to produce with that receiving core. He has no excuses. This Missouri team was fraudulent all along.
This game, I'm not going to say it surprised me because of how Missouri had played leading up to it and how A&M had played leading up to it. But in my mind, I'm less surprised that Missouri got spanked. I'm more surprised that it was by A&M.
Exactly.
And that A&M played phenomenally. And I think a lot of people after that Notre Dame game kind of just said, all right, A&M's A&M. They're not that great anymore. But Elko knows what he's doing down there. And I think he's building a monster because he's got the NIL funds. And if there's a school that's going to succeed if you need funds, it's those old tycoon A&M boosters bringing that school some friggin' dough. So I'm pleasantly surprised that A&M's good because I feel like that's a fun school to be good. Do I want them to win a natty? No, because the fans will be crazy. But, yeah, I think A&M, in my opinion, is what I'm more surprised about is that they were able to just absolutely floor Missouri in this game.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same page with you, Schrader. 41-10. I thought A&M could upset Missouri, no doubt. I had it in a blog written, ready to go, ready to be posted. And then obviously this weekend rolls in. Connor Wegman's back under the helm, which we haven't really seen him play great since. We saw him start against Notre Dame. He looked horrible that game. But yet this game, he gets a lot of his passes completed. He's just playing the game, and then the team just starts working together. And Elko is what you're saying. You know, this isn't just a statement win. We got to keep building off this, and just for them to just build off that though. And what they can do for the rest of this and being first in the SEC right now with conference play, yeah, it's a little scary. It's a little scary, and I just don't want them to win, so we'll see.
I'm going to be honest with you. I did not expect A&M to win this game. I fully thought this was going to be the week Missouri fully got their stuff together. They were going to really get tested by a really good A&M defense, but I thought this was going to be the time those superstars like Luther Burden really showed up, put their foot down. Brady Cook got back in rhythm, and they were going to make an example out of Texas A&M. Not with a big-time win, but by pulling away in the second half and maybe winning by like 10, 13 points. But A&M straight up splattered them. And I didn't see this. Now, I know Mike Elko's a great coach. I picked him as my SEC sleeper in the preseason. I actually picked them to beat Notre Dame in week 1. But when they dropped in Notre Dame in what was a really ugly game, Connor Wigman went down. You had Reed come in, play some pretty good ball. None of their wins were just statement wins, but they were winning ball games after losing to A&M. Then they announced Wigman will be starting again today. I really just didn't know how to feel about this A&M team. I was like, okay, maybe Richard, you were a year early on him in your preseason. Maybe next year is going to be the year Elko really comes in and shakes things up. But obviously this team was just getting warmed up. It was the inverse. I thought Missouri was going to get warmed up this week. It was A&M that had to get warmed up this week because they looked incredible. The running game was fantastic. Wigman looked very efficient throwing the ball, throwing for over 250 passing yards. The defense obviously looked outstanding, shutting down a dynamic offense that is the one of the Missouri Tigers. It's incredible to see. And now when you're looking at this SEC picture, Georgia already has a loss. So does Alabama. So does LSU. A&M, Tennessee, just dropped to Arkansas. We're about to get to that in a second. A&M is currently sitting at the top of the SEC right now.
Who would have thought?
And the SEC race is not going how any of us would have expected it to go. Now, you still have Texas, who's unbeaten, but they have the Red River Shootout coming up this weekend. We'll see how that goes. I fully expect Texas to take care of business. But as of right now, A&M is sitting at the top of the SEC, and nobody going into this season expected that. And like you said, Aiden, another big-time upset. The Arkansas Razorbacks beating the Tennessee Volunteers in a late-night slugfest. This game was ugly. There was nothing pretty about that game. It was like putting lipstick on a pig. It was like putting lipstick on a pig's butt. It was hideous. Schrader, I'm going to kick it on over to you. When watching that game, what was your biggest takeaway, and what do you think really gave Arkansas the edge?
Arkansas being able to stop that Tennessee offense. I mean, I thought that Tennessee offense, I didn't think there would be a point in time where they wouldn't put up more than 25 points in a game. I mean, I saw this offense being one of the best in the country. Now, Tennessee's defense did what Tennessee's defense has done all year.
Yeah.
But this was the first time we saw that offense struggle. And that, I mean, I still don't understand how that happened. I know that Arkansas is better than their record indicates. But, like, I mean, how that Tennessee offense, with how fast it is, and how normally unstoppable it is, just hitting a stopping point where it couldn't do much, just shocked me. So I still don't understand how that happened.
It was wild to see. It was insane to me. I was watching the game. Now, I wasn't as high on Tennessee as everyone else. They had been undefeated. The game against Oklahoma was really ugly to me. I watched them play against Oklahoma. Now, I thought Oklahoma just had a really good defense with Brent Venables, which they do. So, like, maybe that's why they struggled their first real road test. But I expected maybe a close second quarter of this game, and they kind of pull away halfway through the second, run away with this game. But they didn't. They didn't. Nico looked lost out there. The Arkansas really came after him. And it's congratulations to Sam Pittman. This is the kind of win he really needed out there in Arkansas. I'm really happy for him because people are trying to say hot seat talk, but I really like Sam Pittman. I really want to see him really stick in that job at Arkansas. I love to see them have success. I'm going to have to keep moving quick because we had another monster game come on late at night. ACC at night. The Cal Bears taking on the Miami Hurricanes. Now, look, at one point in this game, Cal was up 35-10. What was it? Halfway through the third quarter.
Yeah.
Like, this game was just about over. I remember I cut my phone off. I went to bed. That game came on too late. I was ready to go to sleep. I was tired. I had a wedding to go to in the morning. But when I woke up, I just saw one text from my fantasy football group chat. Cam Ward is that guy. And indeed he is. Aiden, I'm excited on over to you first before we get up out of this segment. What did you see from Cam Ward in that game?
I saw what he showed against Virginia Tech also, battling back through the adversity, not starting off the hottest, getting off to a slow start, and then coming back and winning the game. It's all that really matters, I guess, and he got the job done this week. He didn't impress me too much in that first half. Didn't impress me at all in that first half. He came back and won it. That's what a quarterback has to do.
Cam Ward is as talented as a quarterback can be, but I'm struggling with these first halves because he's not doing them against teams that he needs to be doing it against. I mean, like, in my mind, like, everybody says, yeah, Miami should be the favorites for the ACC. I think Clemson would wipe the floor with Miami right now. With the way that Clemson's defense is and how their offense is playing, I don't see Miami as a favorite for this conference with these last 2 weeks. They got legitimately bailed out by the ACC against Virginia Tech, and it took them a little bit to be able to beat this Cal team, which is a good Cal team. It's an impressive comeback, but I don't think that they should be in the position to have to make that comeback.
I'm with you 100%, Schrader. I'm really high on this Miami team. Y'all know that I picked them to win the ACC in the preseason, our first show, when we made the playoff brackets. But looking at how they've been playing, now Cam Ward, he has been phenomenal, threw for over 400 yards in this game, balled out against Virginia Tech too to win that game. But like you said, these are not the teams you're supposed to be struggling with. Maybe when you go up against Clemson, you're going to need a monster second half to get back in that game because they have a top 5 defense in the country. But against Cal and Virginia Tech, these are the games you should be running away from these teams. You should be running away and hiding from these teams in the second half. But when you go up and face against Clemson, a team that they're going to have to play before this season ends, I'm with you, Schrader. As of right now, I would have Clemson favored to win that game because they right now look like the better team. Miami has been starting way too slow. Same way Georgia's been starting too slow, Miami's been starting too slow. They need to fix that before they get into real deal ACC play. Because like you said, that Clemson team will beat you because it's not only the defense. The offenses look pretty impressive too. Now they face a pretty sturdy FSU defense this past weekend, but Cade Klubnik has been looking better since losing to the Georgia Bulldogs. Miami's got to get their stuff together quick because Clemson is coming for the ACC title. Now look, stay tuned. We're going to take a quick song break, but when we get back, we're playing Take It or Leave It and talking through this big-time NFL weekend as well.
Hey, this is Andy Bunker from 92.9 The Game, and you're listening to the Wolf Sports Network.
What's up, y'all? It's Richard Reed here. Quick reminder for those of you that are watching on either YouTube or Twitch here at Wolf Sports Network, we are indeed a radio station first, and this little awkward pause that you're hearing isn't an awkward pause at all. We're taking a quick song break. So if you want to hear the great music that we're playing right now, go to wolfsportsnetwork.com, hit that play button in the top left-hand corner of the screen, or hit that play here button in the middle of the screen to hear the great music that we're listening to right now. And then, once we come back from the song break, either stay tuned over there or slide back over to YouTube or Twitch to check out the rest of the show. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the start of a new semester, which only means one thing. Triple Threat is back.
But wait, there's more.
That's right, folks. Not only is Triple Threat back, but we are live. So every Friday from 11 to 12, grab a drink and some popcorn and get ready to enjoy the show. Only on Wolf Sports Network.
Yeah, buddy.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Now you heard the man. We're finna play Take It or Leave It. Now, but before we do, let me not forget to introduce my guy Joey right here, who will be joining us once again, filling in for Carly. Get well soon. Ebola is no joke, but we know you can beat it, Carly. If anybody can beat it, Chuck, it's you. Now look,
get 'em,
we're going to
Chuck.
play Take It or Leave It. By now, y'all know how this works. I'm going to present a pretty hot sports take. We're going to throw up these signs and either take it or leave it. Then we're going to give a quick reason. It's a pretty simple game, very self-explanatory, so let's jump right into it. The Jets signed Devontae Adams this week. Take it or leave it. We have 4 leave-its across the board. Okay, now I didn't see this coming. I thought at least
not
one of
supposed to
you
do
would
this.
think that they'd sign him because they are indeed the favorites who signed him this week. Schrader, you seem pretty outspoken about it. I'm going to slide it over to you first. What do you think's going to happen with him?
I mean, and he's supposed to get traded. Is he a free agent or is he supposed to get traded?
He's supposed to get traded.
He's supposed to get traded.
Oh,
requested
that's what I
trade.
meant to say.
Okay,
They
okay.
trade for Devontae Adams this week.
I don't know, because part of me sees the Raiders wanting to like not trade him to the Jets. You know, like I could see the Raiders being that team that's like, we know you don't want to be here, but we're not going to let you go where you want to go. So they'll trade him somewhere else. Plus, I don't know. I don't see the Raiders moving that fast with it. I feel like they're going to take their sweet time. So I'm just going to leave it for now.
I'm at the point with this Devontae Adams thing where I really feel like the Raiders are at the point. I'm at the point where I feel like the Raiders are at the point that they're going to get something done now. I think they just want him out of the locker room. I believe it's an unnecessary distraction.
Yeah.
And they really just want to move forward with people that want to be there. Because if you watch that wide receiver documentary, he made it very clear last season that he wanted out then as well, the second Derek Carr left. So I think they're just going to get it done. I think they're going to get it done this week, but I do not think it's going to be to the New York Jets. I don't think that's the move the Jets need to make anyway, even if that's where he wants to go. The Jets have so many more holes on that roster that need to be filled, and adding Devontae Adams is going to be like giving a homeless man a Versace bag. Look, it looks good, but that's not really what he needed. I think if it happens, I think if he gets traded this week, he's either going to the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens. I think both of those teams would benefit a lot from having Devontae Adams. So that's really how I see it. Anybody else have anything before we move on to the next question?
No.
All right. Next, take it or leave it. The Padres win the World Series. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
All right, we got 2 taking it and 2 leaving it. No Diddy. John, I'll throw it to you
Goodness.
first. What is selling you on this Padres team?
The game they had last night, they won 10-2. And, I mean, the Dodgers had a great starting pitcher, but they just tore up on it, and the bullpen came in, and, hey, they're getting hot. And I just kept seeing it throughout the way they played, and I think they somehow win the World Series. I mean, it would be crazy if they do, but they got the 10+, you know. I just see it all day.
Joey, you're shaking your head no. Let me know what you're thinking.
Here's my problem with that.
Talk to me, Joey.
They have to travel. They've never been good in the World Series after a travel game.
Okay.
They're never good in a travel game, and they have to travel.
But they're traveling home. So, you know, home field advantage, it helps.
It does help. Yeah, I mean, this Padres team's got firepower, man. I mean, they're star-studded. They legitimately, last year, they did not make money because of all the stars that they put on that roster. They're built to win now. From what I've seen in this postseason run, this is the first time in a long time we've seen them win now. So
yeah.
you beat the Dodgers 10-2 in L.A., you can beat anybody anywhere at any time. Mm-hmm. So I think the Padres could win the World Series.
Hard to argue with that one right there. Next, take it or leave it question. The San Francisco 49ers aren't contenders. They're pretenders. Take it or leave it. We got 2 taking it and 2 leaving it after a 2-3 start for the San Francisco 49ers. Joey and John both think they're pretenders. Joey, I'm going to slide it over to you first. What about this 49ers team is really knocking you back?
They just have not been there at all this season except for their one win, right?
No,
they have 2.
They're 2-3.
2-3. But they just lost this past Sunday to the Arizona Cardinals. Final score 27-24.
Yeah, which closer, I'll give them that. That was a decent game. But it's just not the same San Francisco I've seen years past that have actually gone for it. They don't have it like they used to.
John?
See, what I'm seeing right now is they're just not able to close out games. You see they're building up these massive leads, and they're playing like freaks on the field. Defense is getting the job done, and they're doing exactly what we've seen since that Super Bowl, playing crazy, playing great ball. But then now they're not able to close out these games. And when you're starting to see that early on in the season, it questions is can they close out these bigger games towards the end of the season come playoffs? And really, and if you can't, then what's going to happen? Are you not going to make playoffs? Or are you going to make playoffs and you're going to get a first-round exit right there, done, you're out. So really, they just can't close games right now.
I understand what y'all are saying, but I still do not see it. I would still believe in this San Francisco 49ers team. This is the same team. This is pretty much the exact same team that went to the Super Bowl last season.
True.
Right now, they've been being plagued by injuries. Brandon Ayuk sat out the entire offseason. Yesterday's game is the first time we really saw him back in Brandon Ayuk form, and he did it emphatically with over 120 receiving yards. But then again, Debo only had 11 yards receiving. George Kittle was barely a factor in that game. I believe this is just a team that's still trying to get warmed up. They had a lot of drama to start off the season. Brandon Ayuk wasn't playing that good. Then they got plagued by the injury bug as well. I think this team is just starting to gel back together again. They're starting to knock off the rust. Last week really felt like their week 1 to me. This is the first time this whole team has really been together and playing together at the same time. I still think they're a contender.
Yeah, I mean, as long as Shanahan is the man up there, as long as he's the one calling the shots, I do not see them not being contenders.
Right.
I just think Shanahan is way too good of a head coach with way too good of a roster for this team to be pretending.
That's fair. It is a tough argument for Shanahan, and but we'll see what he gets done up there.
Yeah, we will see, but they're not the only team to play yesterday. We had a crazy NFL slate yesterday. In the NFL, only one thing matters: chasing a dynasty. Now look, when recapping yesterday's games, there is an obvious game we have to start with, and that is the Baltimore Ravens going on the road to take on one of their division foes, the Cincinnati Bengals. This game was insane.
Oh my goodness.
Two teams that are extremely talented that we all view as Super Bowl contenders going into this season, but that started off a little slow. They're both trying to get back on. They're trying to get their feet under them. The Ravens after starting off 0-2, and the Bengals after starting off 0-3. These are both teams that were really trying to get going, and boy did they deliver. Lamar Jackson, 29 for 42, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns, 55 yards rushing, 92 rushing yards for Derrick Henry. Joe Burrow, throwing for 30 of 39 passing, 392 yards, 5 touchdowns compared to only 1 interception, and 193 receiving yards from Jamar Chase. Both of these teams went to war, and they left their defenses at home when they did it.
Yes.
This game was phenomenal, going down to the wire with the Baltimore Ravens winning it 41-38 in overtime. Joey, I'm going to slide it to you first again. Thank you for joining the show tonight, by the way. We needed you, last-minute edition. We love having you here, Joey. Walk us through this game. What really stood out to you, and how did the Ravens take it home?
The overall game was just insane to watch. Even just seeing the highlight reel afterward, I feel like they left tons of stuff out there. And it was also a cleaner game than I've seen out of both teams in a long time.
Yeah.
And so the fact that it also went into overtime for those two teams, I could almost see, if it wasn't for Chiefs, but I could almost see both of them ending up going back at each other for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati's just running out of chances, man. Like, they're 1-4, but they've been in every game, just about every game they've played in. I mean, I struggle with the Cincinnati team because they're not able to win the close games. But Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, those guys should be running for president because, like,
they've got my vote.
I mean, it's insane. Lamar Jackson's got that pass game dialed down. I mean, the passing attack from this Ravens offense is amazing, and then you just throw in a wild Derrick Henry there. Like, I mean,
unreal.
I see the Ravens being favored in almost every game they got left on the schedule, and I see them making a deep playoff run. And this Bengals team, they got to start winning home games, man. They're 0-3 at home. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, and so the thing is, I saw with the Bengals is they had a lot of chances to close the game out.
Yes, they did.
I mean, like you said, they left their defenses at home. It was a high-scoring game, but Bengals, at least towards the very end, I think had 3 or 4 chances, and really they should have crazily captivated off this when Lamar fumbled one of the snaps and they recovered it, and they ended up just getting a field goal off of it. But the defense could not. Was it not that?
It's not even that. They missed the field goal.
Missed
that
field
was
goal.
in
Yeah,
overtime.
sorry, that's what it
Lamar
was.
dropped the snap on the Ravens' first drive. They lined up in field goal range.
Yes.
And the holder messed up the snap, missed field goal, wide left.
He's going back to free agency. They brought him from free agency. He's going back. But the Bengals have to get things figured out because you just saw what Captain Lamerica, Todd Monken, and the rest of that offense did right there. And you see they're getting in their groove. And when they're in their groove, they're going to be dangerous.
Captain Lamerica's good, John. I like that. I might get that one tatted on my forehead. Now, look, Lamar Jackson and this Ravens team, no doubt they're contenders. This is one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL right now, despite having 2 losses on their record. This is an insanely good Ravens team. Now, imagine if they add Devontae Adams. That
lethal.
right there would be insane.
That shouldn't be legal.
Dude, there would be no way to stop that team. And I think Devontae Adams will be okay with inconsistency. He might have 7 receptions one game, 4 in another. I think he'll be okay with that because they're going to be winning ball games with him. Devontae, slide on to Baltimore, grab you a ring real quick. I know you want one. That's where he's at in this stage of his career. He wants to win. But when you look at this Bengals team, they need to win, and they need to win right now because they're insanely talented. Joe Burrow's leading the league in touchdown passes right now, but they have a 1-4 record. They had, like you said, John, they had plenty of chances to win this football game, but they didn't. Now, next week, they go to New York to take on the New York Giants. Then they go to Cleveland to take on the Browns. They need to start winning ball games right now. They also have a home game against the Eagles coming up. That's also a winnable game because the Eagles have been sputtering recently.
Yep.
They get their top 2 receivers back this week. They still have Saquon, but they've still been a team that's been sputtering. The Bengals need to get right, and they have to get right now. The Giants are no slouch, though. They just played a really tight game against the Cowboys, and they really just beat what a lot of people think is a very good Seattle Seahawks team in Seattle. This Giants team is no joke. But if they're going to do it, the Bengals have to do it now. I think they have what it takes to get back in the win column, but they have to do it now. But now look, I just mentioned the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. But how about I talk about the Washington Commanders, another team in the NFC East who just went to Cleveland to take on the Browns and splattered them 34-13. This team's legit. There's no more questioning this team. Jaden Daniels is by far the best rookie quarterback in the league right now. Caleb Williams had a good game yesterday. But Jaden Daniels is that guy, putting this Washington Commanders team on his back. Let me not even say putting it on his back. This is a very talented team. He revived this team. He gave this team a jolt of life. I was listening to ESPN earlier, and they compared this to when Andrew Luck got on that Colts team. He really took the Colts, an organization that was just sleeping along, just collecting NFL checks for being the organization. He was thrown into that team, and they took that next step. Same thing with Jaden Daniels, but you might be able to say it's a little better. This team is ridiculous. And as of right now, I'd argue that they are the best team in the NFC East, and it's their division to win. John, I'm sliding over to you first. Would you say this is the Commanders' division to lose at the moment?
Yeah, it is definitely their division to lose because they've shocked me. I mean, they've been Jaden Daniels going out there and he's having fun. He's controlling the offense, and the rest of the team is just absolutely just flying with them. Everyone's having a fun time, and you're seeing what's happened. They're just destroying other teams, and really it just builds confidence for the Commanders because I remember Dan Quinn said he does not want Jaden Daniels to think he's the ghost of Robert Griffin III, and that's exactly what's happening right now. He's making sure none of that's happening, and then just the rest of the offense has run with it. So it's just been awesome to see what Washington's done.
Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been this much commotion up there in D.C. since RG3.
Exactly.
And Jaden Daniels is the poster child for efficiency.
Since the Griffin administration.
Exactly, bro. Like, dude, Jaden Daniels' ability to his completion percentage is off the charts. It's like it hovers at like 90, which is wild.
Insane.
And this Washington team was a lot like those Indianapolis teams in the sense that it wasn't that they were terrible, they were just mediocre. And now they have a quarterback that makes them more than mediocre. They have a half-decent receiving core, and they got one heck of a head coach. So I do, like John, I think that the Commanders can win this division and should win this division right now.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you 100%. I think we're all in agreement here. I really want to give it to them right now, but I also want to see what this Philadelphia team is going to look like at full force because they just had a bye week. They got back healthy. What am I saying? A.J. Brown.
Oh,
I almost said Jalen Brown. I'm sitting here thinking about the
okay.
NBA season. The preseason just started. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are both healthy. Saquon Barkley's playing at an insanely high level. That defense is still bad. Yes, Jackson, y'all's defense is bad. He was just looking at me through the control room window. But I still believe in this team. I still believe in Jalen Hurts. That team I watched go to the Super Bowl a couple years ago was phenomenal to watch. And I still believe that team is still somewhere deep down in Nick Sirianni's pocket. I believe this Eagles team can still maybe get something going, but it ain't going to be easy. Because the Cowboys, they're a decent team. They're not good, but they're not bad. But this Commanders team, exactly. The Cowboys are just the Cowboys. The Giants are the Giants. But this Commanders team.
They're the Commanders.
This Commanders team is playing at an insanely high level. And if the Eagles really want to get back into this division, they're going to have to go through Washington. Now, look, another team who we expected to chalk up and win their division, the Buffalo Bills, coming off a rough loss yesterday, 23-20 against the Houston Texans. They called it the Stephon Diggs the Stephon Diggs revenge game. But this game was ugly. This really just proved that the Bills might need another guy like Stephon Diggs. They really might need to go all in on Devontae Adams after watching this game. Look, JT's looking at me through the window too, shaking his head no. But I'm sitting here nodding my head yes because Josh Allen was 9 for 30 yesterday. They have no difference makers in their receiver room. Yes, Keon Coleman had a long catch, but it was really a run after catch. It was a missed tackle. This receiver room has no alpha dog. Now, they have a lot of guys that can produce. Keon Coleman can produce. Shakir can produce. Dalton Kincaid can produce. But they don't. Mac Hollins cannot produce. I'm going to say that now. Mac Hollins cannot produce. Not going to keep here and keep saying can. They need a guy. They need a dog. They need Devontae Adams. Or else they're going to keep losing games like this, like the one they just lost to the Houston Texans. Schrader, what's your opinion on this? What do the Bills need to change to really turn back into a big-time contender in the AFC?
They need a top dog at receiver.
I'm glad we agree.
That's what they lost. That's what they lost, and they're just not the same team that they have been. I think they definitely took a step down, and you can't expect just Josh Allen to go out there and do it for you every time. I feel like James Cook hasn't had the greatest performances in the last couple of weeks. At least 2 weeks ago he didn't, because that was the reason I won in fantasy. His 5 points sealed the deal for me. But I just think that this Bills team needs to go get a star at receiver, whether it's Devontae Adams or whether Keon Coleman steps up. I think Keon has the ceiling to be like a Devontae Adams kind of player. So it's really, they just got to do something with that receiving core.
Something's got to change. It can't just be the Josh Allen show. That's all I was going to say. It just cannot keep being the Josh Allen show. He can put on a cape and try to win them every game possible. When they face against a real team like the Houston Texans, now, it was still a very close game, though. That's the main thing. Even with his struggles, going 9 for 30 passing, James Cook had 20 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. Only averaged 4 yards a carry, but he had some pretty good numbers here. When you're looking at that game, it was still in their hands. They still had chances to win it. Bring in a guy like Devontae Adams. A lot of people might not like it. I remember I was talking to JT last week. He was saying he wouldn't want Adams because he feels like Josh Allen would feel obligated to force him the ball.
But that's what they need.
I don't think that's true. They just need another option. When you have a big-time guy like that, he opens up the offense, and you're going to get him the ball because he's going to be screaming open down the field. You're going to get him the ball because he is the best receiver on your team. But what he's also going to do, he's going to draw off the best corner, and the safety's going to lean his way. That's going to open up guys like Dalton Kincaid, like Keon Coleman, and really make the entire team better. It's going to open up the run game because they're going to be scared of Devontae Adams as well. They're not going to want to bring that safety down to the box because then they're going to get beat over the top by a guy like Devontae Adams. He helps out the entire team because the defense is there. The defense kept them in that game. They just need one difference maker that isn't Josh Allen to really scare the defense. Now, look, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to wrap this segment up, take a quick song break. But when we get back, we have to talk about this mega Monday Night Football game coming up. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, this is Bobby Butler, and you're listening to Sports Pack only on the Wolf Sports.
to Wolf Sports Network's newest podcast, Triple Threat.
Triple Threat, the podcast, was fun.
So today we are joined by Cole Fisher. Cole, welcome.
We got Jeremiah Giddens here.
But like we said, that was only the start.
I think we got some big plans. Definitely got some big plans in the cook.
There could be a surprise next semester.
All right, boys. I think I know what's happening. Oh, you have no clue.
Now you can find us at Wolf Sports Network, live Fridays at 11.
Every Wednesday is Fried Chicken Wednesday at West Commons. Faculty and staff can now get their own meal plans by visiting westga.edu/dinewest. Updates are available at dine_west on Instagram. Are you ready for some football?
Yeah, buddy.
Are you ready? Because we have a big-time Monday night football matchup tonight as the New Orleans Saints travel to Kansas City to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, the 5-0 Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium. Now, this is a very interesting game to watch here because, yes, the Chiefs are two-time defending Super Bowl champions. They have started off the season 5-0, but they are not what their record says they are. This team has not been impressive whatsoever, and they're also banged up, losing Mahomes' top target, Rashee Rice, who's really been carrying them through a lot of these ball games. John Howley.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to kick it on over to you first. Who do you like in this game and why? Chiefs or Saints?
You know how I am with the Chiefs and everything. You know that. Heck, you called me a Swiftie at one point.
I did call you a Swiftie.
You called me a Swiftie. But
I stand on what I said.
Yeah. But you see here, I mean, the Chiefs they're out with Rice. They don't have Mecole Hardman and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Get him out of there. Don't care. And you don't have Pacheco. And you know what? Derek Carr and the Saints are going to pick their games back up after losing to the Dirty Birds. And they're just going to pick it back up. And those get a nice, easy win in Arrowhead.
Easy
win by like 2 touchdowns.
Easy win against Mahomes in Arrowhead.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has ever done that.
No, I mean, but shoot, I know the last quarterback to beat Mahomes, but we'll get, still, I think they get it done by 2 touchdowns. Derek Carr and the offense gets going.
You think the Saints beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead by 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, let's see it.
With Patrick Mahomes and the refs all in attendance.
Ooh, the refs in attendance, that's a tough one now.
Schrader?
I was about to say, John, you are one silly willy. Because let me tell you something. Mahomes might not have been playing the best this season, but he's playing at home. The Chiefs at home are deadly. The refs are there too. The refs with the Chiefs at home are even deadlier. But also, this Saints team's kind of sliding a little bit. They started off really hot, and they've had two straight losses. One of those was really close with the Falcons. But I don't see the Chiefs losing at home in a primetime game. I just feel like that's when Mahomes plays his best. And I know you hate the Chiefs. I don't.
True.
I really like Andy Reid. I like to see him be a successful head coach. So I got the Chiefs in a close one. I see them squeaking it out with a PI call or a no PI call. The refs are going to be involved, but I see the Chiefs squeaking one out.
Let's be honest. Looking at it, Chiefs are playing 18-man football. No one else gets to. Saints still have them.
18-man football.
That's a new one, man. Yeah. I like that.
I'm gonna say, but the Saints are gonna have I don't give them 2 scores. I may give them an extra point attempt.
Wait, so you're riding with me on the Saints, Joey?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, buddy.
And I hate the Saints, so that's saying something.
Wow. So we have Joey and John going with the Saints, and Jackson Schrader standing alone taking the Chiefs right now. Before I make my pick, Phoenix, I want to bring you in real quick, because you've been sitting here shadowing the whole show, doing a great job. So I'm going to let you make your game pick. Who do you have, the New Orleans Saints or the Kansas City Chiefs at home?
I have the Chiefs because I'm a Swiftie.
Oh, never mind.
All right, don't like that reason. Taking my mic.
She's on a whole different island.
She can sit back down. We gave it a shot. All right,
Rich, what's your pick, man? Hilarious. We got to hear this pick.
Come on.
Now, when I looked at this game, I was excited for one because I think it's going to be a very entertaining Monday night football game. Yes, the Saints are coming off a tough loss to the Atlanta Falcons, actually 2 straight losses to the Eagles and the Falcons. But I'm still bought in on the Saints team. I really like what they can do offensively and defensively. But their defense is what's really getting me right here in this game. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, yes, they're 4-0, but they've been kind of struggling. Patrick Mahomes has thrown an interception in every single game he has played in this season. Now, Arrowhead is no tough place to play, but there's one thing I know is that Saints defense travels well. And this is going to be a Saints defense that really gives a banged up, injury-riddled Chiefs offense some fits right now. Now, they've had an extra day to game plan. I expect Travis Kelce to have a pretty solid game. He's really going to assert himself and let people know he's not really completely washed up yet. He's going to have to step up. So is Xavier Worthy. They're going to ask a lot more of him today than they've done in any other game because Rashee Rice is their guy. But I still think the Saints are going to find a way to get this done. I think their defense is going to keep them in it the entire time. I think they're going to make some changes to their offense to really get rolling because they didn't get rolling at all against the Philadelphia Eagles, and they really sputtered a lot there against the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Chiefs leave this game 4-1, and the Saints leave this game above 500 at 3-2. I love the defense, and I think the offense is going to do enough to squeak out a very close win against the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm with you, Joey. I'm not with you, John, at all.
Fair.
I do not think they get it done by 2 touchdowns. I don't think they get it done by 1 touchdown. Either a field goal or an extra point. This is going to be a very close game that goes down to the wire. Now, look, that's all we got for Sports Pack today. I appreciate all of you for tuning in tonight. Stay tuned because, oh, my goodness, I forgot to mention, Sports Pack is now doing call-ins. If you want to be a part of the action, jump in and talk to us. Tell us your opinion. Be sure to DM us on Instagram at Wolf Sports Network and just DM us, call in. And when we get back to you, be ready because we're going to schedule to bring you in, call you in, and have you on Thursday's show. We are doing call-ins for every Thursday show here on Sports Pack. Stay tuned and hit us up on Instagram if you're interested. Now that I've gotten that out the way, I was supposed to promote that the entire show. Forgot about it. Just pointed at the camera for 10 seconds instead. But look, we'll be back on Thursday with a new call-in segment like I just said. Stay tuned. For me, your host, Richard Reed, John Howley, Jackson Schrader, my guy Joey for Phoenix. Carly, get well soon. Like I said, Ebola's no joke, but if anybody can beat it, it's you.
You got this, Chuck.
Stay tuned. We will be back Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel. We love you. God bless. You are now listening to WSN.